In a scene that felt straight out of a tense drama, Russian forces have captured hundreds of Ukrainian soldiers near Kursk. On a chilly day filled with the heavy scent of conflict, Vladimir Putin appeared in his military uniform, his gaze sharp and clear. He warned that these prisoners would be treated not as regular captives, but as dangerous criminals. Just hours before, President Donald Trump had warned that if a ceasefire was not agreed upon, actions would be taken to devastate Russia. The mix of military power and political threats set hearts racing and left many asking, what twist comes next in this unfolding crisis? Reports from the Kursk region reveal a surprising turn of events. General Valery Gerasimov, Russia's chief of staff, announced that his forces had taken around 430 Ukrainian soldiers during a counteroffensive last summer. The sound of marching boots and hushed orders filled the air as the soldiers, realizing that fighting on was futile, surrendered. In a quiet meeting with Putin, the general noted that the Ukrainian fighters had given up, their hopes fading like the last light of day. This sudden capitulation left many wondering, what will be the next move in this tense military game? The news spread quickly among soldiers and civilians alike, sparking anxious whispers about the future. As the day went on, the mood in Kursk grew darker. Putin, dressed in worn fatigues, visited his troops, his presence heavy like a gathering storm. In a firm tone, he stated that the captured Ukrainian fighters should be treated like terrorists, in line with his country's strict laws. His words hit like a sudden downpour on dry ground, leaving a cold, uneasy silence in their wake. Officers and soldiers alike listened, their hearts pounding in the quiet aftermath. In that moment, many could only wonder, does this harsh decree signal a deeper conflict on the horizon? The air seemed to tremble with the promise of upcoming battles right now. Halfway across the globe, tension was mounting as President Trump made his voice heard. With a clear tone, he warned that if Putin did not agree to a 30-day ceasefire with Ukraine, the consequences would hit Russia hard, both financially and politically. Trump explained that the U.S. had options that could cause serious damage, though he stressed his preference for peace over conflict. His words carried a mix of threat and hope that echoed like thunder in a quiet room. Listeners were left to wonder, is this a genuine bid for calm, or just more fuel for the fire? Every word raised fresh doubts about the future of the conflict. In the midst of these high-stake talks, U.S. diplomats moved quickly. Officials announced that Ukraine had agreed to a 30-day truce, but stressed that Russia must also agree. So far, Moscow has insisted that any deal will only be considered after U.S. envoys presented in Moscow. Trump mentioned that his team had sent negotiators to Russia, though he offered few details. Every step in these discussions felt like a careful move on a chessboard, with the future of the region hanging in the balance. Now, the burning question is, can these talks pave the way to peace before it is too late? Time is running, and fragile hopes tremble. In a final twist, a U.S. advisor compared the situation to a last-minute play in a close game, urging every side to act wisely. Meanwhile, voices from Washington pressed Russia to sign the ceasefire deal, hoping this step could end the long, harsh conflict. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky approved the truce in talks held in Saudi Arabia, though his trust in Russia remains low. Not long ago, a heated clash between Zelensky and Trump led to a stop in military aid to Kiev, which was later resumed when a resource deal was struck. Now, the world watches with bated breath. Will peace finally emerge, or is a bigger storm coming?